You already know what it is. Your boy DJ Chris Styles. I got a good one for you today. It's the DJ Chris Styles show. I got Brianna Excuse, don't let me mess it up. Garza. Did I get it right?
Garza. Yeah, well, Brianna, like banana, but yeah, neither here nor
Bria.
there.
I screwed it all up. You see that? See what I
That's
did
all
there?
right.
It's Brianna.
Brianna.
There we go. Brianna, shooting coach, mentor, basketball shot and thought developer. I love that title. I love
Mm.
that title. We'll get deeper into that. Got our own business, Shooting Stars. Excuse me, let me get it right. Shooters Shoot. And she is now the COO. Just last year, she accepted it of Strata Athletics. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Strata Athletics. That's a company based out of Austin, and that was actually a temporary position, but if and when we start it back up again, I'm sure I'd like fill that role.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Okay, we'll talk about basketball here first because we're really here to talk about. I've seen your story, changing the game for the
Mm.
Final Four. You'll be in Cleveland, and I watched your story and how you went to a conference. I think they basically told you like we didn't need you, and then we do need you, and you said we go pay for your flights. You went there, and first thing they said, "How do you feel like being a woman coaching basketball?" And highly offensive because it was a player development conference, and you there to talk about player development. So you kind of went at them like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here to talk about player development." And the
Yeah,
first question you asked me,
yeah,
like, what was their faces when you said it? The first question you asked me?
yeah. No, so I mean, you got most of the meat and potatoes there, but like really, I don't think that the company, like the people who asked me to come speak at that conference, I don't think they meant to ask that question in malice. Like I think they were being really genuine humans. Like let me start there. I don't think they're bad people. That's just the wrong question.
Right,
And so
right.
yeah, when I went and gave that piece, because the question they asked me is what is the women's experience in coaching, and so I answered them honestly, and it's the women's experience in coaching is being asked to speak at a player development conference about what it's like to be a woman instead of this craft that I'm so committed to. And if you want to empower women's voices, ask us about basketball. That's how we go about changing the game. And
And,
that's where, the birth of the conference happened. After that conference, they didn't pay me. And this is what it's like to be, this is the women's experience in basketball. And I don't think it's, again, like we give people grace whether they deserve it or not. And I don't think that there was any ill intent in anything that they did. I think they meant well with their line of questioning. And yeah, I think the surprising part was thinking you know, the bad business part was going to be swept under the rug, as I'm sure it had been. And as I've done, it wasn't the first or the second or the third time in my career where, I've been taken advantage of like this. And I've slowly just, I guess, felt myself becoming the wrong one.
right, yeah, yeah. You get you no, you they got the right one because I'm pretty sure you went up. They got the right one. I'm telling them they got the right one. Yes,
But yeah,
yes. Phone calls were made. Cut
man.
the check.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like that this whole experience is not about like me, right? Or about them
Mhm.
even. It's
Right.
it's about the collective experience of coaching basketball, and women in coaching and men in coaching. It's overall I think there's this in at every level there are things that are so obviously like needing change. I mean, you mentioned you have a couple of daughters that play basketball. We
Yep.
love a girl
One,
dad.
yeah, yep. Younger one played basketball for a little bit. She played a couple of sports, but yeah, I experienced with a lot of women's sports. My oldest plays softball, so yeah, it all rolls under the same umbrella.
Yeah. And I think just at every level there are things that we all see but don't say anything about at the youth level. I'm sure you've seen this. You go to tournaments and you see grown adults berating 11 and 12-year-olds just in front of everybody, right? And thinking that's okay. And at the middle school and high school level, we hire coaches who are still working through their own traumas and the ways that they were coached. And so they coach through the only lens that they know, which was not one that they deserved either. But we see this decline in confidence, especially in young women. I mean, but young men too. I mean, throughout middle school and high school because of the coaching they receive. And you get to college, there's the grandfatherism of this guy over here was coaching Division I, got fired for a good reason, but we're going to give him another Division I job just because he's already coached Division I.
Right.
In the private sector, there's bad business, right? In the WNBA level, there's coaches who have gotten head coaching positions, coaching the best women in the world, who don't have any head coaching experience. And again, it's not to say these are bad people or anything, but I think the standard is the standard, and across the industry, I don't think we're meeting it. And I think that's what I'm trying to be a pioneer for, is how do we speak up in those situations, coming from a place of truth with love and not making people feel small, but saying I know you see this too, and what do we do about it?
Right. And I think that's what I wanted to speak to you about, because I think it's such a great movement. And just talking about the women's game, period, and just women knows basketball. Now, I was looking at your IG page, and you was talking about shooting in the elbow and everything tucked in. I was like, man, my high school coach is all wrong. All I can remember is balance is balance, eyes, elbow, and follow through. I'm
Yeah,
like, everything she just said,
man,
killed
it's
all of it. I
funny.
said, no wonder my jumper was off.
Yeah. No, it's funny the way shooting is taught is the way we've always taught it. I think we're in a new wave of coaching where we're really finding these player development coaches who are really studying, breaking down to a science, what the best shooters in the world do. And we're finding, especially in shooting, all of these things we were taught. I was taught too. My dad taught me, right?
Right.
Yank your elbow in, keep the ball above your chest, 10 toes to the rim, all of those things we find the best shooters in the world don't do. And yeah, so it's been an interesting journey, sharing all of this with data, right? And video
Right.
and analytics and all of that, because then it's really hard to argue.
Right. It really is, and not that I was a bad shooter. I was okay, but knowing that if I wish I could have had a shooting coach, anybody teaching me how to shoot a lot better. Wow, especially the technology and the training that you guys. Tell me some of a couple of things that you do when you have a average basketball player to come in. I'm not gonna say a
Hmm.
superstar, but average basketball player say I want to get that better shooting. How do you incorporate being a shooting coach, also you are a psych major, along with a master of science? How do you incorporate all that in shooting? Because shooting is confidence.
Yeah, good question. So I think it's really hard to improve upon something that you don't understand. And that's whether it's shooting or math or anything like that. And so that's where we start, is I make sure that my athletes have a full understanding of shooting, at least the major pillars of it. And from there we can take, because every shooter is going to be different too. Like you and me, there's no way our shots would look the same. I'm 5'6" and I can't move sideways at all. So there's no reason why you and I, or the person next to you shot. We all walk different, we talk different, we got different DNA. We're going to move a little bit different. So it's understanding those pillars within the context of, okay, how does your body naturally move? And teaching through a lot of the sports psych work I've done is in the skill acquisition framework. So that's teaching you how and when to give feedback, what types of cues to give rather than the ones we're used to. So, for example, if anybody listening is a parent or a coach that's wanting to coach shooters and help your athlete get better, the number one mistake I see coaches and parents, well-meaning parents, make is giving too much feedback. So not giving enough space for the reps to breathe is actually a detriment to your athlete's skill acquisition, because they never, if we get feedback after every rep, hey, your feet were off that time, hey, hold your follow through, hey, make sure your elbows in, hey, all of these things that we're used to hearing from our dads and our moms. If we do that every rep, then the athlete never gets to make the brain body connection that they need to make to correct their own mistakes as they go. So we're actually crippling them when we're really just trying to help. But allowing the reps to breathe is one of those pieces that I pull from sports psychology. That's called faded feedback. So you give them a lot of feedback at first, and then once they understand the intended outcome, then you taper it back and you let them figure it out and make mistakes as they go.
When did you, because I can tell you just love basketball. NAIA, the school that you went to, I think it was Baker, all-time leading assists. And so you just at basketball, all state in Texas, doing your thing. So you played at the highest level. What made you say, okay, at some point I want to train these athletes? I want to be a trainer instead of really going to the coaching part of it.
Ooh, good question. Yeah. I have never really, when I was a point guard, X's and O's were my thing. I understood the game. I understood everybody else's offense, the scouts, all of that. And I've never personally wanted to work with the systems and the X's and O's. I'd love to work within a system, right? But when I get to a game, when my athletes are playing, like, I don't want to have to be focused. Like, I want to watch them. I want to watch them hoop. Like, I want to hype them up from the sideline, and I don't want to have to be locked in and thinking the whole time. I just want to be able to focus on my kids and empowering them and hyping them up. And I think if I needed to be like, eventually, if I wanted to coach in the W or something like that, I think a player development back of the bench position would be best for me. Yeah. I think did I lose you?
You just figured you just want to train. I understand that, because I know a few trainers. This I just like to see what I developed and how does it look in full speed game. It's almost like a mad scientist here. like seeing that average player go to, oh, that player's getting great. Oh, that player's, I trained that player. Oh, what if I can do it this way? I get what you're trying to do there. I see what you're doing. So shooting stars. When did you create shooting stars? I mean, excuse me.
Shoot or shoot. Shoot or shoot came about in October of 2021. After that whole year, there were 3 really tumultuous things that happened in my personal life that sort of flipped my world upside down. The last of which was losing my job at it was supposed to be a 3-year gig as a player development coach for a company in Phoenix. And the CEO flew in and he did it all the right way. There was no bad blood there. But about 6 a.m., he told us we were at the end of the year, we were out of a job. So we had a few months to figure something else out. And I remember I had a 14-hour day of training that day, and I get down onto the floor with my first athlete, and I can remember just having the most fun the entire day, just understanding I might not see these athletes for very much longer. So I went home, sat on my porch, had a good cry, and it was about 11 o'clock at night and 111 degrees outside, and the idea hit me like a Mack truck, shoot or shoot. So I went and grabbed my laptop, made the first flagship t-shirt design, the one I'm wearing now, and built it as a t-shirt brand. My roommate at the time was a college athlete. She walked in and I showed her, and she was super hyped. Next morning, she left at 5:30 for morning practice, and I was still outside on the porch on the computer just building. Today's day, 615 on the road for me, just trying to build something that feels big.
And that's called a grind. But I presume that competitive spirit came out at you when you was like, okay, I can do something else. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna show them, because it's about win, and you're a winner. And I can tell reading through everything that you've done. You have so many degrees. Master of Science, Master of Education, Master of whatever. I read it. I was just like, okay, that's too many letters for me. That's like when
Yeah.
between all that, when did you have time to go to school?
Man, I accidentally went to school for 8 years to become a shooting coach. Like it was a very, I did my 4 years and played ball. And then I went to grad school to get a Master of Science in Sports Psych and Skill Acquisition. And then after that, I got a GA position, which allowed me to get another master's degree for free. So I was like, might as well. And then I actually resigned from that position 6 months into it because there was just not enough joy in the gym for me. And that's when I just kept doing the masters since I was 6 months into it anyway. Yeah, so I was, like I said, I had no intention of being an entrepreneur or starting my own business or doing any of this ever until like that moment, that night in October. It's come a long way since then.
It was destined though, and then now you're going to be in Cleveland, Ohio for the women's Final Four. That's going to be awesome. And you say you get yourself a gym, you'll be out here showing people how to shoot. Can you get a 46-year-old man back to his shooting form? That's what I'm asking you. If you take me for a week of training, how much of my percentage can go up
A lot.
in a
A lot.
week?
In a
Oh, I'm
week.
going to take you to the top.
Yeah, like if you came on day one and we just did before any teaching and we did a measurement on you of like 15 footers and 3-pointers. I mean, I would have to see your baseline, but if your baseline was low, around, let's say your 3-pointers were around 30 to 35%, we could pretty easily get you to 55, 60.
We're going to put you to the test.
Hey, let's do it. I'm so serious. It feels like magic. It feels like magic teaching shooting in this way because it's not really about me. It's about helping you understand it.
Right.
Once you understand it, then it's just nothing is going to replace the reps, right? So if you were coming every day for 7 days, then yeah, by day 7, you would probably be at 60% or better with no defense, right? With just catching and shooting because you would understand your shot a little bit better.
How many reps are you supposed to take? I watched the Steph Curry documentary. I had an opportunity to watch that documentary and watch the way he trained. And the one thing his mom and the dad had to do is they had to reset his jumper. I think it was a sophomore year in high school. And they said, you're not going to make college if the way you're shooting. And they reset his whole thing. It took him 3 months before he even shot a 3-point shot. How many reps do you have to take to become like that? Because I see him, he just shoot. Is it more shooting or is more technical part of it? Because they say Kevin Durant only works out 45 minutes to an hour. That's it. That's his workout. But it's his intense workout. So everybody's different.
So most pros, when you train pros, you expect to go for no more than 45 to an hour. Just especially if they're vets. I mean, it's just like their body at that point. You get them in like, very focused. This is what we're working on today, whether it's a tune-up or a specific read or whatever it is. Most pros go for 45 to an hour. And if you can be succinct like that, they like that. But with Steph or with shooters, well, Steph is one of one. Like everybody like Steph or like Kobe or like LeBron or any of these people that we talk about on the top of the pinnacle of everybody, it's totally clear that they're a little bit crazy. And if you want to get to a place like that, you have to be a little bit crazy. Now, if you're trying to be great at shooting and you're asking, how many reps does that take? I think I have a hot take on that. I think most people will tell you, in high school, you need to be taking 300 shots a day. And in college, you need to be taking 500 shots a day. And in the pros, you need to be taking 1,000 shots a day. And I think that if you can get to the gym, and this is after warm-ups, right? Warm yourself up, do your whatever you need to do for your form shooting, whatever you're working on. And then you go hard for 75 to 100 makes. Then that would be enough. Now there's caveats to that, right? Are you practicing deliberately? Are you keeping your mind engaged both on yourself, like your technique, and on your vision, what you're seeing, what's happening in this read, right? So it would take, I think, a high-level trainer to help you understand how to create workouts like that. But if you have access to that, or if you can yourself promise yourself or have that conversation with yourself, like you're staying locked in for those 75 to 100 makes, then you can 1000% become a knockdown shooter with all of the, the understanding as your foundation.
It's over for the 45 and over league. I'm gonna have a 1 week of training. It's over. It's over.
I'm so. I mean,
I'm calling it out.
You'd have
I'm
to still
calling
work
it out.
on
It's too
your
late. No, it's too late. It's too late. Nah, it's too late. You didn't told me I
Let's
can
get
average
it.
50.
Let's
You
get
told
it.
me I can average 50. That's what you told me. I heard it. In my
Okay.
head, you said something else.
Averaging
In my head, it says, "Oh, I can average 50 in 45 and over league." Listen, changing the game Final Four. What can we expect when we come upon that because I think you're coming to Cleveland for a whole month beforehand. So what are you
Yeah,
doing the whole time that you're here?
I'll be moving to Cleveland on February 1st, just
Okay.
to be on the ground, shaking hands, kissing babies, putting butts in seats at the conference at the Final Four. And while I'm here, I'll be running some shooting academies at the Hoop Tech in North Ridgeville,
Okay.
and I'll just be connecting with coaches locally. There's some coaches in Columbus. Like made some connections with the Ohio State coaches and with the Spire coaches there in near Columbus, and so just going to be around the community, get to know the coaches locally in the area, and then getting things ready for the conference. At the Mixer, we're having live music, so connecting with the Mixer location and their people, making sure that can be set up. A lot of it's going to be work, but I'll finally have access to a gym every day for the first time in I don't even know how long. So it'll be really fun to be able to
Tech is
just get
great.
into a routine. I'm sorry?
Hoop Tech is great. It's a great gym.
Hoop Tech is sick. And Dan, who
Yeah.
owns Hoop Tech, is just an absolute gem. He wants his heart is so big for developing like the youth in that community. And he's willing to do whatever it takes to be a part of that. And yeah, he's really good people. You love to see good people running places like that.
Yeah, I just think this is dope of what you're doing, changing the game. Because listen, I'm a huge supporter of women basketball.
Mm.
Period. I find it exciting. I find that the women playing in today's game while I'm watching high school and in college is just phenomenal
Dude, these kids are so good at basketball.
with the skill level with the basketball. And I'm like,
It's
no,
crazy.
I don't want no smoke with any of them
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like
Like,
I just nah, because I had a friend. Her name is Vita Redden. And we went to high school together. She averaged 37 a game. Ended up going to like Brown University, but we played together growing up, and she was so freaking good. Like I just looked at her like, nah, she can play. Like it's no, and I want everybody to get the notion that that's saying that it's a different game because if you watch it now, it's not too far off.
it's really not. Yeah. The skill level, like, it's like, when I go and watch these tournaments with, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids, I'm like, why are y'all better than me? Like, why can y'all move like this? But yeah, and so that's like all of that energy for them is in, you're mentioning women's basketball, and we're in the heartbeat of this meteoric growth of women's basketball. And yeah, the Change in the Game conference, I think the reason that I was so implored, or why I had that 20 seconds of insane courage just to pull the trigger on this thing, was thinking about that meteoric rise and understanding like the athletes aren't the future of basketball. Like we are. Like how we shape them is going to be how the future of basketball gets shaped. And that's such an important job that we really just let anybody have right now. And it's a hard job. Being a good coach is a really, really hard job. And yeah, the Change in the Game conference, we have women who are covering sports psychology, mental health for coaches, not just for athletes, biomechanics, right? I'll cover shooting, developing strength workouts to make better basketball players, developing training from of athlete first, developing an athlete into their training, We have, confidence. Nancy Lieberman's our headliner. I don't know how much you know about.
Whoa! I know Nancy. Wow, how you pull that?
Whoa, yeah,
That's
Nancy.
awesome. That's
I
awesome.
just asked. I just told her the story, the same story we talked about at the beginning of this call. And she was like, "I'm in." Nancy's and it feels like a bit like an event full of the people that are going to be there are the pioneers in this space, not the speakers, but the people who invest in this, who attend, who say, I want to be a part of this. Like, those are the pioneers in this space. So it just seemed absolutely appropriate to have the original pioneer, one of the original pioneers of basketball, of women's basketball, to be there to share how we can continue her legacy that she set for us. And yeah, we're leaving coaches better than we found them, and we're redefining what it looks like and what it means to. It's because it's funny, Chris. As coaches, we have this big thing of accountability, right? We teach our athletes to hold themselves accountable. We teach them to hold their teammates accountable as well. Yet we excuse ourselves from holding each other accountable in this industry.
Right.
And that's not the standard. And so that's what we're fighting for.
And you got it. I appreciate you coming on. Again, I won't be in Cleveland from the 1st to the 20th, but as soon as I get back from small little break, I'm coming to the gym. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna
hit me. I'm serious.
I'm bringing the cameras with me, and we are about to listen. You think I'm joking here?
I don't think you're joking.
This is a real thing here.
Let's go.
That I'm doing, and this is a science project.
I love it. I really do. One of my favorite things in the world is to take a shooter that, even like a bad one. Like, I'm not saying you're a bad shooter. I haven't seen you shoot, but we'll see. But even taking a bad shooter and who thinks they're a bad shooter, and then just like proving to them, like, no, see, like, I know you just felt it a few times in this session, but now you know that you have it. And so now it's about learning how to find it yourself. So I got you, Chris. I got you.
At the end of the day, I just want to average 45 to 50 in the 45 and over league. And that's it. All jump shots. Okay, I'm a DJ by trade, so I always got to give you some music questions. If I go into your iPhone right now and click your Spotify, what is the first 5 artists that I'll see?
Well, you'd have to click Apple Music because I don't use Spotify. Okay. But you would see here. Let me just read them to you. Beyonce. Beyonce is certainly number one. Mm-hmm. Beyonce, Tevin Campbell, Armani White, Dolly Parton, and Jacques Brel.
That is a diverse list right there. You went from B to Tevin Campbell to Can We Talk to some Dolly Parton.
Dolly is an inspiration for me as a woman in business. The way she carries herself with grace and strength is admirable. So when I think of, like, when I have to have difficult conversations, I like put on my Dolly like shield and how she would handle it, because Dolly's attitude is like, that's all right, honey. I know I got big titties. You can look at them, and then sugar, why don't you go grab me a cup of coffee? That's like her energy. So I like that feel to her, and so I listen to some of her music to just put me in that boss lady attitude that still gives you grace.
Yes. Okay. Who right now? So you gave me 5. What was your first song you fell in love with?
First song of those 5?
Of anywhere. Anything.
Of anywhere. First song.
First song you like. That was it. That's it.
Honestly, probably a song from Fall Out Boy, Sugar We're Going Down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, in high school or in middle school, I was in middle school when that came out. I just remember even now when that comes on, I just like crank it up.
Uh-huh.
That one and Love on Top, Beyonce. Anytime Love on Top comes on, I like no matter what
Great.
I'm doing, I just have to stop and just dance around the house or
That
around
that
the
is
gym
that
or
is that is a great record. That is by far a really, really great record. If you could collabo with anybody in the world of basketball, who would you
ooh,
collab with? Or anything?
what anybody in the world of basketball
Mm-hmm.
on anything.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a big question.
Yeah.
I would say Steph. I would say Steph. I think so. Steph follows me on Instagram, and so I'm waiting for the right moment to until I feel that it's the right like idea because I have access to DM him. I just haven't used it. So I've had several ideas for different ways we could design shoes or even socks that would contribute to balance for shooters. So I think that if and when I continue to develop those ideas, um, I think it would make sense for a shooting coach to collab with the best shooter in the world.
The best shooting coach.
Ow,
The
you.
best shooting coach. The best shoe coach. Let's not. I'm speaking into. It's already in existence. I'm just letting the people know out there. The
Man,
best shooting coach.
I've learned
Make sure you
from
everybody
a
go check
ton
her
of
out.
really good ones.
Yes, Shooters Shoot. She'll be here in Cleveland, Ohio, February 1st. Make sure everybody tap in with her. Changing the game of at the Final Four. She's going to be there. Conference, teaching people how to shoot. The mental part of it. How can we change this game for the better for everybody across all boards?
Mm.
Brianna, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on, and I can't wait when I get back in the city, and we're gonna get busy.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Appreciate you.